I almost feel guilty. I didn't drag any logs today. I planned on it, but with the help of Brandon and Jill, we moved the skid steer back up to Harrisonville, where we're working at. Had to think for a minute. So we got that up there, and it's ready to go tomorrow. I should have tried to drag some logs today. I really should have. That's been weighing on my mind, been weighing on my conscience ever since. Because I know tomorrow is just going to be a madhouse of a day. Trying to get everything done we need to get done, with getting the rest of all the logs drug out, getting the rest of the trees cut, and getting all the logs bucked and laid out. So tomorrow is going to be a full day. So, and like I said, I couldn't have got the skid steer moved back up there without Brandon and Jill helping me. We actually, we used Brandon's trailer behind Jill's truck. She's got a 2017 F350 diesel, a 4-door, just a single wheel, but still it's a 1-ton pickup. So we took it up there. It was kind of nice. It was like riding a Cadillac up there, pulling that trailer with skid steer. It rides a little better than my 550s. So today, I thought, since I don't have any kind of logging videos, I get a ton of questions, whether it be through emails or Facebook or Instagram comments or here on YouTube in the comments. So really today I thought I'd try to get to some of those questions that I get asked a lot. One of the bigger, more drawn out, complex questions was here last week, or yeah, I think it was early last week. Jim Lashbrook, I think that's how you pronounce it, I hope it is. You asked a question about how our log sells, or how we sell logs, how that all goes down. And it was a multiple part question. It wasn't just one question. I mean, it was a question with several parts involved to it. And we do keep a lot of that stuff private. We do, and I always will. Like I said, it's our sales are all about my clients' confidentiality. We don't discuss figures or numbers or anything like that in our videos, because that information, it's solely private. It's between me and my landowners, my clients, and our log buyers. No one else needs to know that information besides us 3 parties involved. But just to try to answer a few of those questions, what you ask how we buy it. Well, that depends on the job, Jim. There's some jobs we buy lump sum, because we run into all kinds of people. I like cutting on the shares, I really do. Cutting on the shares, it's a good, safe, excuse me, it's a good, safe bet straight through. If the timber cut's bad, we all take a hit. If the timber cut's really good, better than expected, we all do really good. So cutting on the shares is definitely a good, safe bet. It's just agreeing to the terms, that the share terms you want to cut on with the landowner. And depending on the walnut, the number of trees, the quality of trees, those shares can vary. The same with the oak and pallet material, that kind of wood. It's usually pretty standard what we do. I mean, some guys they'll be real competitive with it. I'm not. I'll be honest. When it comes to that stuff like that, I'm not super competitive on cutting the oak or the pallet wood, like the ash, the maple. I've got pretty much a set of terms I use, and that's just how we cut. We try to do so much and go the extra mile with our work. I figure that's worth something, so I'm not going to try to bid myself out of a job there. And like I said, there are times I've lost jobs because of it. I know I have. I'm fine with that, but I've seen some of the work that the people I've lost the jobs to, and I've seen what that looks like when they're done. And in the end, that little bit of extra money they got, was it worth it? I mean, you tell me. I don't know. So yeah, but the walnut, we are very competitive on our walnut. Like I said, we primarily cut a lot of walnuts. So as much as we cut week after week, month after month, year after year, that kind of gives you an idea. We're extremely competitive to buy and cut as much walnut as we do. But at the same time, we hunt a lot of walnut timber. I mean, we go everywhere to cut walnut timber. I say everywhere, probably within a 150-mile radius of Stockton, Missouri. We go a long ways to cut it. So, but at the same time, a lot of that, just like where we're at now, we started there, then a neighbor's seen it, then, Dad's calling, hold on. You always got to stop to answer the boss's call. But anyway, where I was, yeah, so we're super competitive, and I buy a lot of timber lump sum standing, I do, and there's a lot of times I prefer to buy it that way. it just, sometimes it's easier, but I don't remember really where I left off the other video. But, oh yeah, landowners. Just like where we're at, once we kind of got established where we are, the neighbors seen what's going on, because we try to do an exceptional job with tree selection and cleanup and how we leave our landings and roads and deck areas. It just, that stuff goes a long ways, and we try to do our best. And there's a lot of times I might have to stay late, or I might have to make an extra trip, or I might have to, you know, a few extra hours or even an extra day, but in the long run I really think it all pays off. And I know I'm kind of jumping around your question here, Jim, but that's kind of the gist of it right there. I mean, that's really, as far as selling logs, yeah, we've got a set bunch of buyers we use, and you know, we've got our own yard, and sometimes we'll have people looking, a lot of woodworkers looking for certain types of logs, whether it be walnut or something else. And if we know what they're looking for, if they let us know, we'll try to set those logs back in our yard, and we'll sell them out there. I mean, just stuff that we haul back to the yard, like if we buy single trees or groups of trees, something like that. But most of the time, the companies we sell to, they're bigger companies that can handle a volume. And at the same time, we have to know it's a bigger company, because we have to know the money's good, because when you're dealing with a lot of money on a weekly basis, as far as the walnut logs go, I mean, it's yeah, like there's a lot of things trading hands there, and a lot of those logs are shipped overseas. They're loaded in containers. Some of them are sawed locally within the area. It depends on the log where they go. So maybe that'll answer your question a little bit. Other questions, I get a lot of questions about saws or equipment, and as far as I'm concerned, I mean, nothing gets under my skin, whether it's on my stuff or somebody else's videos or somebody else's posts on social media. When somebody posts something about either a brand of chainsaw, or brand equipment, or a brand of truck, and you have somebody on there, well, why didn't you buy this? Why would you buy that? Like, it doesn't, that age-old battle between, just like saws, Steel and Husqvarna. One of my good friends, they run Husqvarna saws. I'm sure they're great saws. I really am. If they weren't great saws, they wouldn't make and sell a lot of them. We don't. We run Steel. Always will. I'm happy with Steel. They treat me right. My dealer treats me good. And that's what a lot of it comes down to, is your dealers. And it doesn't matter if it's with your saws, with your trucks, with your equipment. If you don't have a good dealer, I mean, your dealer support has to go a long ways with whatever you're doing, whatever kind of equipment or merchandise you've got. Like our Steel dealer there in Stockton, we'll stay there because he treats us great. Like if we have something come up, he'll usually kind of push us to the front of the line, just because we do a fair amount of business with him. We buy all of our chains, all of our mix, all of our saws, all of our files. We buy all that stuff with him. And I will say, our oil, we kind of shop out. With bar and chain oil, I think I've spoke on this before, we'll usually go where we get the cheapest bar and chain oil. I'm not very particular about what bar and chain oil I run. A lot of times, like Orsolins or Tractor Supply will have specials on bar and chain oil certain times of the year, and we try to stock up. I've looked into buying bulk before, and I can't seem to find a good deal on bulk oil, like buying it by a 55-gallon drum. At the end, it seems like it's about the same money as what we can get on when they have sales on the regular gallon jugs of oil. But on the mix, we run only Steel mix. People ask me on gas. I try to run 91 octane or higher, 93 if I can find it some places here in Missouri. I've never ran the 110 octane fuel, just because I don't know of that many places to get it, and it's so expensive. I would guess the saw is probably running Credible on it. I don't know that much about it, but for as much saw gas as we go through, it seems like a lot of money, and I don't know if it really prolongs the life of the saw that much more, or the performance. Like I said, these are things I don't know about. I'd be interested to know a little more about it, but to buy gasoline that's, $7 or $8 a gallon for 110, it's a lot of money for gas, especially when you're burning several gallons a week. I don't know on that, but yeah, like the same with equipment. Like when we bought the Cat skid steer, like my Ford trucks, my dad drives Dodge trucks. I mean, guys, Some people like Chevy trucks. My dad likes Dodge trucks. I like Ford trucks. I don't care. It comes down to personal preference. There's things I like about my Ford a lot better than some of the things in my dad's Dodge. But at the same time, there's things in my dad's Dodge that I like better than my Ford. It just comes down to personal preference. Same with equipment. And I will say this on the skid steer. I had a Deere rubber track skid steer at one time, and there were some things on it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I do like the Cat skid steers. Now, I've heard the new Deere skid steers, like the G series, are kind of redesigned. They've changed some things. I would be interested in demoing one of them someday, but I would almost say you'll be hard-pressed to get me away from Caterpillar on the skid steer side. And just like how me and Brandon talk on the dirt stuff, if me and Brandon start doing more with dirt work, which we really want to, I would say you'll probably see us running Cat equipment, most likely. I mean, we might stick with a Deere dozer, but I think we just as soon stick with the Caterpillar equipment on the dirt side of things. But I do like the Cat equipment. Now, I do like my old Deere skidders. They're simple, they're easy to work on, the fuel consumption's low, parts are relatively cheap and easy to get still, so there's a lot of reasons we kind of got away from the newer iron and back to kind of the old B and D series Deeres like we're running now. For one, just how easy they are to move, and for the type of operation. We kind of, a few years ago, we kind of started changing gears, kind of changing directions, how we run our operation. So it made sense to kind of get rid of some of our bigger iron. You know, we got rid of our Prentice last summer, our big 490 Prentice. And don't get me wrong, I miss it at times. There's times where I'm going to wish we still had that Prentice, because just like the big job of timber we looked at on the river here back in January, we've got to look at it again here. I got the call on it yesterday. We've got to look at it again in about 2 weeks with the other two partners on that deal. So I would say there's probably a pretty good chance we're going to cut that job. And if so, that's going to span over really probably a couple summers, because that'll just be summertime work, since that's a hunting club more or less. So we'll have to be out of there by September, which we want to anyway, because September's when we really start ramping up walnut hard again. But it'll be good summertime work. It's steady work, what we call that. I mean, and it's big timber. There's not a lot of walnut there, but a lot of bigger pallet timber. And I don't mind cutting that stuff if the size is right and you get the footage on it. So, but yeah, as far as bad mouthing or like people running down other people's stuff because it's not their brand, guys, I don't care. I won't even, if somebody says that stuff, and you guys that look through the comments and stuff, and people that do say that, you won't even hear me comment back on it, because it's not worth my time. Not worth my time. And a lot of times people commenting on that are people that they don't have anything, they don't have a dog in the fight anyway, I'll put it that way, if that makes any sense. You know, they're just running the trap. So I don't care about brands as much. You got to find, like I said, you find a dealer that takes care of you, and you find what you like and run with it, and that's good enough, I think. And I'm not an expert. Don't listen. You shouldn't listen to me on all this stuff. I'm just voicing my opinion here. So there's that. So another question that came up, somebody asked about our bore cutting, and this is another thing. Like, my bore cutting technique on the walnut, that's what my dad taught me. That's how my dad's always cut walnut. It's a pretty common practice in cutting walnut, at least here in southwest Missouri. There's no notch, there's no hinge. The spurs control the fall. And like I said, I'm not a teacher. I'm not going to do a video on trying to, you know, a how-to video, because I don't want the responsibility of that. I'm just a guy that, you know, learned how to cut from my dad. I mean, yeah, I've been to the MFPA cutting school, and I've got my certification here in the state of Missouri from the game of logging. I carry my certification, and I learned different cutting techniques there. And I use those techniques from time to time, but I don't use them on walnut. Now, granted, I don't think you can ever know too much. I think if you ever get to the point where you think you need to stop learning, or you want to stop learning, or you think you know too much, well, you're incredibly wrong. I hope I'm 90 years old and still in this business. I really do, because I love learning everything about it. And I love talking to people, and that's one of the things that amazed me. Like, when I started Timber Tracker, when I started doing Timber Tracker 4 years ago, started that project, I learned so much about how different logging is in different parts of the country. It was crazy to me, and people still comment, and they ask me questions about, well, why do you do it that way? We do it like this here. And that's the amazing thing. Like, logging is so different all over the country, and you wouldn't think it would be. I mean, I never did, but it is. It's so incredible how different it is all over the country. And so it's always good to learn as much as you can and everything you can about a trait you're passionate and adamant about. So, I mean, I think, like I said, these are all just my thoughts and opinions, and they don't mean a whole heck of a lot. But I think if you're whatever profession you're in, if you're going to do it right, you need to try to learn everything. Never get too big to think you know it all, because you never know it all, and you need to always keep an open mind and try to learn everything you can. Like when I went to the cutting school here in Missouri a few years ago, I was already cutting trees. I was cutting a lot of trees. I mean, I knew how to run a saw, but it was fun to go because I went with an open mind, and I learned so much. I went there wanting to learn. I was thirsty for knowledge, and I did. I learned a lot, and it was great. I would love to do more classes like that. I'm 33. I don't know that much, but I've been cutting logs all my life. That's the only job I've ever had. But still, I mean, I'm passionate and I'm open-minded enough. I want to take it all in and learn everything I can. So. I think the video is probably getting pretty long, so we'll stick with that today. Like I said, it's just, I wish I had some awesome stuff to show you guys today, but we'll get a video out. I said I'd try to do this once a week to try to answer some questions, because with the channel growing like it is and all of our social outlets, I do get a ton of questions and emails and comments, and it adds up. And I'm sorry I don't get back to everybody's stuff in time. Like, this whole last week's been crazy, especially with everything we're doing with the trucks, open beds and everything. Yeah, it's been a hectic week, and this week's looking pretty much the same, which I'm not complaining. I'm extremely thankful for the work, and I'm thankful you guys watch this stuff every day. I really am. So, guys, thanks for hanging out. I hope that answers some of you guys' questions. If you have any questions, just ask me in the comments, and I'll try to get back to them, or maybe we'll feature it in next week's video, kind of our Q&A segment, I guess you can say. I'll end like I always do. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. I love to see those numbers climb. I'm crazy about numbers and figures. Anybody that knows me knows I'm crazy about numbers. I'm always crunching numbers, and I like to think I'm fairly good with numbers. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I keep a close eye on the analytics of everything, on the following, on the website, on the views, the numbers, even so much on the app and the website traffic there. So, yeah, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and logger threads. Guys, I can't thank you guys enough for all the support on the new design, the Tree Hugger. Now, I was going to kind of save it back for another week, but I think I'll let it slip. We've got a new design in the works I'm pretty excited about, and it's actually called the Stroker. So, it's kind of a fun twist on wordplay there, but I'm not going to let too much out of the bag on it, but I think you guys will really like it too. I hope you will. I know the support on the Tree Hugger design with the feller buncher on the front's been incredible. It's just been incredible. You guys have just been eating that up on the pre-orders. And like I said, we're just gonna probably do a limited run of that. I order a few hundred shirts, which sounds like a lot, but in reality, they go pretty fast. So yeah, if you want one, you better get your order in, because we have sold a ton on pre-order. And we expect that order of shirts in probably not this week, but the following week. And Shanae's gonna be busy at the office, so I know that. So check that out, and check out everything on Timber Tracker. I think we finally got everything on timbertracker.net sorted out, and we'll be more active and doing a lot more with that in the months to come. I know Shanae's been working really hard trying to get geared up with that. You guys can list it's strictly forestry. Timbertracker.net is forestry and nothing else. That's kind of our motto there. You can list your forestry equipment, your forestry products, standing timber for sale, cut logs for sale, job openings, all your forestry equipment, buy, sell, and trade. It's all right there. We should have more log buyers, more equipment companies listing their services on there too in the future, advertising, which that carries over on the app as well. And Shanae's got about 6 different ad packages there. They range from really cheap. They're all on a 12-month basis. I think her cheapest package is like $127 a year, and her big package is like $1,272 a year. Man, that is cheap. That's for what it does and the reach it does, and that's with full analytics numbers. That's with full numbers. It shows the performance and traffic to your ad. You get that every month from us. it's really pretty. And digital technology is so incredible, guys. It really is. And it's been a fun project. It's been a long project for me when I started this 4 years ago. And it gets a little bigger every month, every year it grows and grows. And we keep hammering away at it. And you know, we designed it because the whole idea was something solely for loggers in the forestry profession. That's what the whole idea behind this was, and we still learn and grow all the time with it. So check that out too, timbertracker.net. You can download that app, Timber Tracker, on Google Play and the App Store for whatever your device. I've got the app on my phone, but I've also got an iPad too I use it for. It's great for scale and cut logs. You can wirelessly print off a scale sheet of your logs. You can email that, save it for your records. There's a lot of things it does. I mean, we constantly improve on it. So if you used the app a year ago, it's not the same app it is now, because we constantly update that. That's the joy of digital technology. We can, at the blink of an eye, we can update that and change the whole parameters of it. Update everything, new features, just like that. So guys, check all that out. I'm gonna get down the road. I'm almost getting tired of talking. I have to hit my water bottle here in a minute, getting dry mouth. So, hope you enjoyed the Q&A segment. If this goes well, if you guys like it, I'll start trying to do one a week probably, because I do kind of like talking about the questions, kind of, well, face-to-face is probably a lot of us are ever going to get. So, check that out, and we'll see you tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be a hectic day. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great weekend.